business. It's business time. Hang tight, we're gonna get into the business right here in a couple minutes. Baby, baby. It's business. It's business time. All right, we are here at week 6 of It's Business Time at Stitch House Brewery. We are here with Mr. Larry Scotton Jr., Larry Teddy Scotton, if you're looking for him on the medias. Real quick, before we get started, as usual, I do want to thank Stitch House for having us. We're sitting here with some local beers.
Listen, cheers.
We're both drinking this hour. You got to come down, check it out. Nothing better.
Got to get that juicy fruit.
Yeah, right. Nothing better than local products. What's so cool about this location, it's small business owned, and the distributors, or the product that is made is right here behind us. So with that, thank you, Stitch House. We are here with Mr. Larry Scotton Jr., and I appreciate you joining us.
Yes, sir.
I know we've known each other for a little bit here, and when I started this series, you were one of the first people I thought of because you've got your hands in all sorts of different projects.
Yeah.
From bands, I know you were touring with Lo Kakani, to your production house.
Yep.
Another hit, Love Larry
There
Productions.
You go.
All of this I'm going to be showing right here, so you guys can check that out when you get a chance.
Yeah, man.
But really, like, I'll dive a little bit deeper into kind of what you do and how that works for you in the small business world.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind sharing just a little bit about your background, kind of how you got into music, how you find yourself in the spot that you're in today.
Absolutely. When I was a kid growing up, music was everything. It was around the house. My grandfather was a musician. He used to tour with James Brown back in the 60s and 70s. So music is in my blood. I always say that. My dad was my biggest supporter. He bought me my first drum set actually a block away at Lou's Pawn Shop.
Okay, yeah.
The beer's kicking in, sorry.
Yeah. No, that happens.
But my first drum set was bought at Lou's Pawn Shop right up the street. I was in the car just waiting like a rabbit, like, oh, my God, I'm getting it,
Yeah.
So, after that, it just kind of went from drums to piano to bass to production to sound to kind of just doing it all. I wanted to be very well-rounded in the profession because, one day you just might get called to do something, so you just got to be prepared. And that's where I'm at, man, just always being prepared.
Yeah, was there a moment in those early years where you were asking yourself, like, you were asking yourself, how do I stand out from everybody else? Was there an instrument? Was there a moment? Was there a show? Anything that kind of sparks?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I remember this like today, like it was yesterday, man. I was in elementary school at Brookside Elementary in Newark, and my music teacher, Mrs. Lauber, I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Right.
She was probably my favorite music teacher of all time because she got me started into what music is and how to play it with other kids and stuff like that. And so there was a concert that she put on for the school, and if I remember correctly, it was Jackie Brown's trio. Jackie Brown is a very notable drummer in the state of Delaware. I mean, he's amazing. He used to teach at Accent Music. I know he still teaches, but they brought their trio in, and Mrs. Lauber actually allowed me to play along with the trio. And so it was like, I remember it because it was the funniest thing ever. Just picture, me like 2.5 feet tall because I'm already short. So 2.5 feet tall, sitting in a chair just like this. I have a kid in front of me, holding bongos. I have another kid holding these cymbals that are put together as hi-hats. I got another kid holding a cymbal upside down to work as my crash, and I'm playing with chopsticks. So just imagine that. I'm just doing all this.
Natural volume control.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't be too loud, but just doing that. That was the moment that I can remember that I still live with today. That's like, yo, that was it. That was the moment that pushed me to know that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, obviously this series is about small business. If you guys haven't gathered by now, a lot of the people I know in small business are musicians. But the reason I ask that question is because whether it's small business, whether it's music, whatever it is, when you're following your passion, there's often those moments where you're like, do I like doing this? Or is this something I have to offer the world, you know?
Yeah.
And as a friend of yours for a while, like, you know, I've seen a lot of the confidence later in life.
Yeah.
But that also kind of what helped draw me back to, like, where did some of that begin? Yeah. And then if you could, so now we're going to dive into where we're at now.
Yeah.
Your production house.
Yeah, man.
And don't I'm gonna walk back to I'm gonna walk all the way back to elementary school from the production house.
Yeah.
But I do want to make sure early on in our conversation. And by the way, you can check out Larry's production house, Another Hit, Love Larry, right here.
Bam.
Check that out. Website down here. All right. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you're doing now in that space?
So the studio and what Another Hit, Love Larry represents is I love making hits. I love making music that is standard, that has a professional sound, that can be put on the radio like right now. You know, something that makes you feel good, that soothes your soul. And so, you know, I do a lot of studio sessions. People hire me to play, and they send me the music, and I get to the session, and I usually do it 1 or 2 takes, and they're always like, "Oh my God, man! Like I love what you're doing. I love it." And so I kind of just like, you know, God put something in my head and was like, another hit. You know, like, you know, DJ Khaled was always, and another one. I didn't want to, you know, steal or enfranchise on that.
Of course.
But I love implementing my signature to whoever's music it is, you know, because people like what I do as a musician, so why not put that into their music? And so every artist that I work with, of course, we've had a chance to work together on a few songs, and you know, I think every time we've listened to it, we were always like, man, that's a hit. Yeah, that's like, man, like, yo, that's it. It's a fun song, you know. It's every time I bring it out, and you help me a lot, kind of structure that and get it simplified. But I don't want this to be about me, but I do appreciate the shout out. Yeah, it's you know, but that connection that we have musically was exactly what we needed to create the music that you wanted. And so that's what my brand is all about. My company, Another Hit, Love Larry Productions, we specialize pretty much in anything when it comes to music, whether it be live, whether it be studio, live streaming, you know, just to make whatever it is to make your production better. I have a full roster of great musicians that I keep in my back pocket, and we're called the All Pro Band. So some of these guys are gonna be playing tonight with me over at the Queen, and you know, I have a bunch of different guys that I can call on, and I think that's the moment that I love about being a musician, is that I can call on a lot of different people just to do, you know, pretty much anything music. You know? Absolutely. You know, I also, I don't want it to be about me, but I don't want to miss the opportunity to say, you know, I did work with Larry. It was an incredible experience. I love what we produced with the amount of resources and time I had for that project. Man. You know, it was really it was like seeing what you do on stage and some of your professionalism come to life. So I highly recommend, if you're looking to get anything produced or even just creative consultant in that space, arts and music, you know, this is a great guy to talk to. Do me a favor too. I know that you have a studio. You have studios. You also recently went in on a brick-and-mortar location. Is there a place that you like to work, or is there a place you want to shout out the brick-and-mortar locations where people can meet up with you? Listen, I mean, I'm always going to shout out my friends and the people who help me and support me. Shout out to my boy Jason Keller. He is the owner and operator of JK Percussion and Arts, and it's located right in Wilmington. My office is located in that office. We work together as partners to really bring more access to the local market of recording, rehearsal space, and lessons. We do steel band lessons, we do drum lessons, piano lessons, bass lessons, guitar lessons, anything lesson oriented. And if your child wants to do that, you know, I swing it right over to Jason. You know, I don't do a lot of the teaching stuff, but I am looking to start a production class, though. For those who are looking to get into production and learn audio engineering in that sense, I am looking to start, you know, building some spaces for that. Well, you got a customer here. Hey, you know, man, I love it. I went to the recording workshop in 2002. Woo. That's dating me a little bit. Yeah, we old, bro. But that was back when we were slicing tape Oh yeah.
And when we were learning Pro Tools.
Yeah, it's a big.
Now I do
Different
Logic.
world.
Different world.
Different world,
Things have
man.
changed.
And we
so
use Logic at the studio as well. But I have always said this for years. Every program does the same exact thing. They're just all the menus they're just in different places.
Yeah.
So you just have to take the time out to figure out where it is that you need to be at in that program. But every DAW is the same, man. You can make music anywhere now, and it's a plus.
It is. I got a whole bunch of questions about that. Make music anywhere, but I do have a little bullet point I want to hit as well before we get too far. So you got your production house, another hit, Love Larry Productions.
You can actually say All Pro for short.
All Pro for short.
All Pro for short.
All right, got you.
And it's spelled AHLLPRO.
Check it
Simple.
out right here.
That's it.
Yeah, All Pro for short. I love it, and it definitely makes sense. You are surrounded by the pros.
Yeah, man.
So back to kind of like the journey to get you to
Right.
All Pro,
Yeah.
to get you to the place you're in right now.
Yeah.
And I know just in the last couple of years, the family has been growing.
Oh,
like
man.
you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where were some of the moments? What was was there a moment where you thought to yourself, man, I gotta go work for, another bigger studio. I gotta go work for someone who can keep that consistency. Because one of the hardest parts about small business is finding customers, keeping customers, expanding your market space. So, can you tell us a little bit about like any moment that you might have said, I can't do this alone. I gotta go work for someone bigger, even if that payout is smaller down the road.
Yeah, man. I would say, I'll put it to you like this. I'm 34. I'll be 35 in February. So I've had a lot of experience at a young age. From like 15 to 28, I've lived life. I've done a lot of stuff, and I've only had to take care of myself. And that's the biggest difference. To all the musicians that are out there that are single and still living at home or has their own apartment and doing it for themselves. That's a plus. And as you grow up, especially in the music game, because we do depend on other people, the audience, to the regular people, quote unquote, the 9-to-5ers, to entertain. And so, my biggest thing is when I had my first daughter, Capri, that was the moment that I was like, oh crap, can I do this? Like, can I really survive? Can I grow a family off of what I'm doing? Because I only had to take care of myself, for for a long time. And then, of course, me and my beautiful wife now, we weren't married at the time, but we were living together and just trying to figure out life. And it was like, okay, can we really do this? And, she has a much more professional job. She's an occupational therapist. So, she has a 9-to-5. She wakes up, goes to work, comes home, has a schedule. Me, I don't have that luxury of having a constant schedule. So I think at that moment I was like, wow, I need to just consistently work harder at what I'm doing. And I've always said this, it's not to say that you need to raise the prices for, the customers that you have. You just need to find new customers. You need to find new people who are going to, indulge in your profession as much as you are. Yeah. And, I've been lucky enough to be smart enough to widen my range of abilities in the music field. And, I've started out on drums. Went to piano, played bass, played in church all my life, went on tour, and finally got the call to run sound for one of the biggest churches in Delaware. Right. And I'm like, I do sound, but I don't do sound. Right. But that was the moment that it was like an opportunity for me in 2017, and I looked at it as, okay, I can do this. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. And when you go in with that confidence, you're able to really come out with a result.
For those of you listening too who aren't in arts and music, you might be hearing this and you're like, well, how's that relevant to me? Well, I got you, right? So much of music, like you just said, the sound gig is hoping you can achieve something, hoping you can do the task that's set afford you, and then you say, that starts on Thursday. Yeah. Today's Monday. I have 4 days to Google, practice, study, ask my friends, all this. And that's the parallel to small business. How many times in small business you say, I've never done digital marketing. I've never done cold calling. I've never done any of these things. And you're looking at your sales books and you're like, I got to drum up business this week. Not by the end of the month, this
like
week.
Right now.
So you hit the ground running. Yeah. That's a bit of a segue to. Do you have any process that you go through to acquire customers? Do you have do you email every Monday, or
no.
do you? Is it
I'ma
all
tell you,
referrals?
it's the oldest trick in the book, man. Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of
mouth, man. I really don't go out to seek business as much as I get called to do business.
Yeah.
And that's really because I believe that when you're an entrepreneur, you work for yourself. You work at your own pace.
Yeah.
You work within your own budget. You spend within your own budget.
Right.
And that's different for a lot of different people. Of how they manage their time to do certain stuff.
Right.
So for me, I look at it as, okay, well, I basically had a conversation with God and was like, I want to make X amount of dollars a month.
Yeah.
How can I do this? Show me the vision. Show me what I can do. And he showed me. He gave me an opportunity to be able to yo, all right, I can play drums. I can play keys. I can do sound.
Right.
I can record. All these different, webs that come together. I was able to work on those crafts. That's another most important thing, for you young musicians, for people who are just taking this as a hobby. Practice your craft. If you want to be a guitar player, not to say you want to go tour and you want to do everything else, but maybe you want to jam with your buddies, take it seriously. Don't just have fun with it, because once you get that gratifying feeling of yo, we really aced this song, we recorded this, you will feel so much better because you put in the work and you put in the effort. So you got to be diligent in doing that and staying focused on that, man.
No, that's very well said. I was a musician for 10 years, 12 years before I did any sales. And the whole practice and then execute that cycle.
Yeah.
That the people who trained me in the sales field, they were just like, oh man, this comes so naturally. It did not come naturally to me. It was years and years of practicing and then executing.
Yeah, practice.
And all that, 20 hours of practice gets executed sometimes in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're opening for a national, sometimes 20 minutes.
Man.
So a lot of the stuff this is why I love musicians and artists too, is a lot of that passion.
Yeah.
Once you transfer that into the business world, it becomes about execution.
Yes. And the business world is it's vicious world. It's competition everywhere.
Yeah.
But you have to stand out. Just like McDonald's stands out, just like Wendy's or Taco Bell or Chick-fil-A, all these other places, they stand out because they have a signature.
Right.
And that's why my brand, Another Hit, Love Larry, is my signature.
Yeah.
All Pro is what I represent, and it's what I'm plastering everywhere.
Right,
because I'm a business, and if you're gonna live here in America, you better learn that quick. Operate as a business, so that way you can actually, if it's not that you want to be seen, but you can be heard. People will listen to me when I have something to say, because my brand is I'm representing something other than just me. It's something that can leave a legacy, for my children and my children's children, So.
It's the through line, I've talked to coffee roasters who are or coffee shop owners who are you need to understand every step of the process and consistently execute that. And Ed Dornick was here a couple weeks ago too from Aztec Printing, and just hearing him talk about how we weren't really competing with Staples, we weren't really competing with these other people,
right?
Because we were the ones who answered the phone.
Exactly.
We answered the phone.
Hospitality is it, man. I feel like that's if you're gonna be a business, you have to understand that it's all about being hospitable. What can I do for the customer? What can I do for the client that will show them that I'm doing above and beyond? Because then they're looking at you and you were worth the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were worth the wait. And I've had people. Of course, it took us a little longer to finish a song, but at the end of the day, it was yo, this was worth it.
That was on me. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it.
To be honest, I don't remember what it was, but
while we're still,
wait,
yeah, right. While we're talking about production, you guys also take on commercial projects. Do you do jingles and commercials, things stuff, like
man.
that? All that.
All that, man.
All right, that's awesome.
I am the one-stop shop for anything music. So if you want to create a birthday song and you want to record it, or you want me to play it and you want to record it wherever you're at, and you just want something to just loop, or if you want just some background music just to have for a special event or whatever the case may be, that's what I'm.
Then find him here.
Up or down, whichever one.
Nice. And also too, I want to make sure to keep these at a reasonable time. I know you also have a show you're getting to right down the street at the Queen.
The Queen will never be the same after tonight, man.
Yeah.
They'll never be the same, yo.
I love it. I wish I had enough time, because this probably won't drop until Friday. Yeah. So I wish I had enough time to promote it. But
man. It'll be in the swing of things. For
but
sure.
you and Q are still doing the open mics every Tuesday at Galuccio's. Can you mention that? Because that's a weekly. We love weeklies.
So listen, right off of Augustine Cutoff on Lovering Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, right in the Trolley Square area. We're at Galuccio's Italian restaurant every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We go from 7 to 10, and if we have enough people, sometimes we stretch it to about 10:30. So if you don't have anything to do, if you just want to come out and check out some local talent, or if you want to be a part of what we're doing down there, we have a fantastic house band. Sean Cusoni is on guitar, Rob Swanson on bass, myself on drums. It's a wonderful time, Katie at the bar, Gator, hosting and everything.
Yep.
It's amazing, It's a really good community. So come on out and hang out with us.
They do the value of the open mic plus like a live band style karaoke. I know I sent you one of my younger friends.
Yeah.
Wanted to do some Frank Sinatra and Bruno Mars, and these guys rocked it. It was a lot of fun. So if you're feeling the itch at all for music, Tuesday nights at Galuccio's, definitely swing through. Got an all-pro staff in house on that night.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah, man. We got some squads, man. We got some people that come in. And like I said, the one thing I love about it, that particularly, is the community. You're able to, some of the people that are from my show tonight, I met at the open mic.
Okay.
And so that's the beauty of, like, when you ask me how I find clients, I go to these open mics.
Right,
I go to these different places that music is gelling. Music is coming alive. Because how can I stay relevant if I'm not around people who need me to be relevant?
Right.
So got to be around it, man. Got to do it.
No, it makes sense. It's inspiring. I see you moving every day.
Yeah.
Like obviously being friends on social medias and doing all the shows with all our own friends. Little known fact too, Larry actually sat in on drums with my group. 10 years ago now?
Definitely 10 years
ago. That might have been the earliest times we were playing together before you went on tour.
Yep.
And then when you did go on tour, I was like, he used to be my drummer.
We all use that statement. It was like, I know that guy. I think every time I see an award show, I'm like, I know that guy. I know that guy. It's crazy, man.
And that's the thing. One of the big reasons I wanted to have you on this week is you kind of embody the combination of hustle plus, like, I'm gonna be real, like kindness and like kind of just like how do you say, like graciousness, right? Yeah. Even though this man is probably one of the busiest people I know in the scene, he's still very gracious about what your ideas are, what your time is worth, and everything. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate you being gracious with today, coming through on a day that you have a show.
Hey man, I couldn't miss it, dude. Like I said, when I made the commitment to you, I was like, yo, it's on the same day of my show. Okay, this could be a bad thing or this could be a really good thing. So I'm using it as a good thing. And while we were on tour, it was kind of one of our traditions to like visit a radio station or do some type of airing, something like that before a show. And I think this is a cool thing. So I'm all the stuff that I learned when I was on the road and, working for different people, man, I'm trying to embody that now. And with people like you, you're making it very easy to do those things, man. So keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank
seriously.
You. I'll take half of that thanks. I want to give Stitch House the other half of that thanks for hosting nights like this.
Shout out to Stitch House, and my favorite beer now is the jackfruit.
Yeah,
Hands
the
down.
Juicy Fruit, yeah.
Oh, it's the Juicy Fruit. I read that wrong. Sorry, it was the camera was in the way.
The
Juicy Fruit.
The Juicy Fruit fruited sour up there.
Amazing.
So before we head out here, is there anything else? I know you gave some shout-outs to your buddies. I know we got Tuesdays at Galuccio's.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to shout out, any websites? Because you can just put your hand out and then give it a shout-out, and then I will insert there.
So right here you will find my website, which is allpro.com, AHLLPRO.com. You can find everything that you need about me and what I do and where I'll be playing, what I've been doing and what I have already done. You'll see some cool pictures, and I'm hoping to get some merchandise up there, man. That's the next phase of being an entrepreneur is branding, man. You gotta get the merchandise, man. So stay tuned for that, man, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You can catch Larry at allpro.com, anywhere out in the scene. Thank you again for having us. That wraps it out for week 6 of It's Business Time here at Stitch House. Thank you, my man, again. Have a killer show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.